So given some of the stories in the news right now, it will not shock you to learn that today's White House press briefing was, well, a little bit crazy. So let's get started with some questions, shall we? Let's start with Weijia Jiang of CBS News. Go ahead, Weijia.
Yesterday, the president spoke about D.C. crime and talked about how there was virtually none. And then he expressed frustration about things that take place in the home they call crime. He said, you know, they'll do anything they can to find something. If a man has a little fight with the wife, they say this is crime. See, now I can't claim 100%. Exactly what crimes was the president referring to?
I mean, Weijia, I have no clue what the president was referring to. Now, I would say late verbal disagreement may not be a crime, but assault is most definitely a crime, as is domestic abuse. And assault, and the president would certainly know a little bit about that firsthand because he was found liable for sexual abuse by a jury, so he would certainly know that's a crime. But none of that has anything to do with the fact that the crime has been on a downward trend in D.C. since the pandemic. And the National Guard, a group trained for war zones and not for crime fighting in cities, is not the answer to continue bringing the crime rate down, which is probably why they're tasked with picking up trash and shoveling mulch on most days. All right, who's next? Charlie Spearing from the Daily Mail. Go ahead.
Epstein files are back in the news because a lot of Americans feel that that Jeffrey Epstein's victims never got justice. Does the president care about these victims? Do you think he can does he want to deliver more justice for them, and is he willing to meet with them?
Well, Charlie, they certainly haven't gotten justice. But when Trump was asked about it tonight, he basically said he hadn't even thought about meeting with them. Do you seriously think, though, he's going to meet with them? I mean, the man has been gaslighting everyone for months when he has the power to release the files himself, which is what they've all been asking for. He also called it a hoax on the same day last week when a number of survivors went out and stood on the Capitol steps and called for action. And he is his little house henchman, Mike Johnson, attempting to block the discharge petition. So no, he's not planning to deliver more justice for them because he's worried about what that would mean for him. Okay, Javier Vega from Telemundo, what do you got?
About the Epstein case, would the White House support a professional handwriting expert review of the document released yesterday to prove that it's not the president's signature?
Of course it won't. But honestly, is that really necessary? I think we can all see it with our eyes. Okay, next up, Jackie Heinrich from Fox.
Will there be any consequences, so to speak, for Netanyahu doing this, as it sounds, against the president's wishes, or at least his belief that it was appropriate? Is there going to be any directive from the president to Netanyahu in terms of what's allowed in the future? And also, is there any concern this could jeopardize the Abraham Accords?
Okay, so what you're referencing there, Jackie, is, of course, the airstrike that Israel conducted today in Qatar. And when Trump was asked about that tonight, in the same breath, he said Israel didn't tell him in advance, despite wide reporting that today that the White House did know in advance. And he also said that he's never surprised by anything. So make of that completely conflicting answer what you will. But it's pretty clear there are no consequences for Israel. And there's no real point in a directive because Netanyahu and Vladimir Putin, for that matter, are not exactly waiting for instructions from the Trump administration or President Trump himself.